Let's see. There we go. Hold up. There we go. Hello, everyone. If you see a little doggy walk by, that's because Chino is here. But right now he's chilling off to my left, so you probably won't see him. There we go. So I'm feeling a lot better today. I feel like I actually slept last night. I'm feeling rested. I feel like I'm back in my body. Instead of being like half here, half not. There were some things that I needed to surrender to, I guess, and I did. So I feel like I had a thought, but I don't remember. So I think no, I was gonna use my favorite virtual assistant, but I think I'll just not. Can you not lift the bed, please? Thank you. Don't. He's like, what you doing? So today is National Indigenous Peoples Day in Canada, and Discovery Day observed in North Ireland. That's what NI is. I was like, NI. What is NI? It might be North Ireland. It may not be. The First Nations, Inuit, and Métis are the three main groups of Indigenous people who reside within Canada. It's interesting because I went to Mackinac Island, and on Mackinac Island, they talked about the Odawa people, the Anish something. Ow, ow, stop licking my bed. I gotta sleep on this. Oh, random wet spots on the bed, please. Thank you. It was different first indigenous people. It was different indigenous people. And Odawa, like they linked it to Ottawa. So I thought I would have seen the Odawas, because I know Ottawa's in Canada, but I would have left him outside, but he was sniffing at the bottom of my door and crying. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'll let you in, buddy. Thank you for being well behaved. Thank you, Chino. The First Nations, Inuit and Métis, are the three main groups of indigenous peoples who reside within Canada. So let's get three groups of cards, right? So top, middle, bottom for the First Nations: Five of Swords, Four of Cups, Ace of Cups. For the Inuit, oops, I'll take it. Eight of Swords. These are not great cards, but I'm not surprised because, does anyone treat their natives well? No one that I know. Knight of Wands and the Ten of Cups. See, they're all like, the third card is like gorgeous though. And then the Matisse. I'm not pronouncing that right, but that's fine. It's the Fool, the Sun, and the King of Swords. Bottom of the deck is the Magician, which is a Nahuatl, indigenous to Mexico. I think the Mexico area. So the First Nations people are coming out with the Five of Swords, the Four of Cups, and the Ace of Cups. The Five of Swords in this deck is a card of standing up to your oppressors. It's a card of reclaiming your power. The Four of Cups is a card of complacency and how we need, like, how excitement can sort of keep things alive. And then the Ace of Cups is here. looking very mystical. I'm actually going to read this Ace of Cups. That was a heavy sigh, Gina. That was a heavy sigh. Cups, the Ace of Cups by Polly Faye. Oh, this is PF, right? Yep. She was on the other side of the magician, so the high priestess. The Ace of Cups is bursting at the seams with an abundance of love, joy, and tranquility. He's a compassionate ambassador of new beginnings, and the energy of such flows from the life giving waters of his chalice. His message is put your past behind you and be present in the now. Let go of that which no longer serves you and live your life to the fullest. The flow of love is endless. It's the most powerful force in the universe. When open to it, you shall receive all the love and support you seek. And then for the Inuit peoples, it's the Eight of Swords, the Knight of Wands, and the Ten of Cups. It feels like in this Eight of Swords card, she's about to be freed because it looks like the blade of the sword is about to press into the ropes and cut them. There's also this 16 energy, an unconventional 16, because it's like the I, or no, because here it's 16, but in the camera it's 987654. The Knight of Wands in this deck is all about giving a voice to people and things that are not being voiced. And by things, I mean like concerns, right? Like environmental issues or something like that. It's the power of compassion. So the Ace of Cups with the First Nations people. It feels like there may be a bit of resignation here, right? It's like, we stand up for ourselves, we voice our concerns, and then it's almost like, we're used to nothing really happening or changing. But that's changing. There he is. Oh, no doggy booty on camera, please. Thank you. Um, right, it's like the energy of like going out to make your voice heard and nothing really changing with the Four of Cups. But now, or into the future, it's like something's changing. With the Eight of Swords, and this Knight of this Knight of Wands is heading towards her. And then the Ten of Cups is here. So here it's this energy of like feeling like you weren't seen, feeling like you weren't acknowledged or appreciated. But now that's coming into a space of changing because it's like compassion is finally making its way over there. And then we end that with the Ten of Cups, which is love, it's acceptance, it's validation. And then with the Matisse, the Fool, the Sun, and the King of Swords. Oh, look, it's Chino. I don't think I've ever noticed the dog in this. It's interesting that in this Fool card, the dog is on a leash. And I also like that they're both heading in the same direction. In a lot of decks, you'll see the dog sort of running back toward, like running back inland, and the Fool like looking out over the cliff. This card looks so different when I can actually see it. Because before I would always see this Fool as a silhouette with that heart right there, or with the colors of the rainbow. It was just a silhouette. But now I can see like the boots, the pants, the vest, or the backpack with the little the not beanie, but the dog. And I feel like that holds significance for me. Also, there is a light right there. It's like in here. Oh, see, it feels like in the Fool it was so cloudy that we didn't see the sun, but it's like now the sun is coming from behind the clouds. And it's in no small part due to someone. So it feels like there could be like a change in laws and protections also, right? Especially since that whole like, that school was the truth was uncovered, and it was like, it's time for us to start again. It's just like caring about one another and demanding better for one another. And according to this, it's like it feels like it's gonna happen. And so it also feels like we all move forward when we care about those that we've sort of overlooked. And I don't have to get full into the tragedy, but it's just like, I don't know, you hear stories of indigenous peoples just not being treated right at all from all over the place. I guess more specifically, the US, Canada, and Australia. That's where I hear about it more often than not. And also, I think I heard something about South Africa, but like how representation is kind of sort of skewed. You ready to go? This dog is so muscly. The First Nations, Inuit, and Métis are the three main groups of indigenous people who reside within Canada. And then, as an American, for me, it's just this energy of like, and I've talked about it before. It's like a lot of people are like, oh, if things go south, we're going to go to Canada. We kind of sort of romanticize Canada as this like getaway, like this escape, like if we needed to. Some people already are just like, let's just go to Canada. But it's like there's no shortage of mistreatment or injustice in the world. And so it's almost, so I guess for me personally, it's an energy that's like, well, would it not be better to focus on making where you are better rather than trying to run away or escape? Under the magician is temperance. The magician and temperance came out together in the space of after the solstice. The Seven of Pentacles is here. Oh, he's going to want to go. And then there's that scythe again. Right there. That scythe imagery is popping out all over the place. And then justice is here. With strength under justice. See, here's another deck. Oh, okay. Come through, majors. Yes. So we have the Emperor, strength and justice. 1 second, I'm going to let him out. All right. Oh, see, now my bed is wet. It'll dry. It'll dry. It'll just be doggy slobber. I feel like this Emperor, being a female, it's this energy of bringing kindness or compassion back into seats of power, because that's what's going to be what moves us forward in a way that is more fair or accommodating to all. Again, in the strength card, there's heavy water imagery. So again, it's like there needs to be some kind of connection there. That's what we need to begin cultivating within all of our systems, right? And it's so interesting because you always hear, so like trigger warning, you always hear people talk about like, oh, you shouldn't abort your baby because what if that's the next Albert Einstein or the next person who's going to cure cancer or something like that? And it's like, well, what if the next Albert Einstein is the current Albert Einstein? What if the person who's going to cure cancer is already here, but that information is in a body that you disregard? That information is in a body that you disrespect. It's in a body that you don't honor. It feels like whatever challenges or issues or problems we're going to face moving forward, we're going to have the solutions. And it's that energy of the Tower of Babel again. But this time it's like, we're going to have to pull people from all over. Nothing happened to the knowledge or information. It was just the injection of different languages and cultures. And it's kind of sad, I guess, that a group of people who were talented enough to build a tower to the heavens would fall to not being able to have enough compassion to see the others as like, people. It's like all it took was to get people to speak a different language. to get people to have like different cultures and customs, and that was enough to prevent this tower from being built. Just insert a little bit of difference and the whole thing falls apart. Like, but there is an energy of compassion moving forward and being extended to those who would otherwise be overlooked. There's an energy of dreams and prayers and hopes being answered. There is an energy of a more total and complete, I don't even have the word, sun energy for everybody. But it's like it comes because we sort of will it, because we demand it, because we stand up for it, because we sit in a space and position to change that which is sort of void of heart. And it's interesting that the King of Swords is the one that's come. The King of Swords is like, even I have enough of a heart to know that this is wrong and that something should change. Because, you know, he's the one that people typically sort of say, ain't got no heart, he all brain. I just noticed that he's got a little rainbow patch over his, it's like a little sash under his cloak. And again, it's sitting right next to the sun. So, you know, this might be, some people may be coming into like their mission or purpose is to be those who like go in and start to change stuff like this, right? Also in the Temperance card, I mean, it is the Pride Tarot, so we're going to see rainbows all over the place. But in the Seven of Pentacles, that energy is sort of being put here, and then in Temperance, it's being poured out. It's like this is an energy that's putting it into the atmosphere, into the ethers around Earth. And then this is the energy like coming sort of in, being poured out by different individuals, Knights of Wands, Kings of Swords. Because otherwise it's just the potential, right? Potential doesn't really mean anything unless it's actualized. And then the magician is there too. I think the magician, like the gender fluidity of this magician, the ability for this magician to shapeshift, it's almost like it carries this energy where it's like it's gonna have to be more than one person. Like this is a collective effort. There's also an energy here because it's like we can see the village all the way down there and the Nahua all the way up here. This feels like it's that return of the old magics energy because it feels like this Nahua is about to go down to the village. But it does feel like there's a little trepidation there. And I'm looking for jobs, and I was looking at federal jobs, and they have jobs on like reserves and stuff. I'm like high key, like I would love to do that. Maybe I will, since this came out today, and I was literally looking yesterday. helping indigenous people in America, Native Americans. Even though this is about Canada. But so yeah, compassion is moving forward. The light of the sun is coming. There will be those who stand in a way of significance, in a way of substance, in a way to actually change things. Maybe in a way that some would have thought things would never have been changed. And there has been an energy of indifference. That's what's sort of changing now, right? Because in this middle column, it's the Four of Cups, the Knight of Wands, the Sun. The Knight of Wands is that spark that it's been missing. And there's enough, it's like the potential is so thick in that area that it seems like a little bit of fire with a little bit more air, or with a bit more air, would be enough to sort of like ignite this into something that, like, things can actually be done. So overall, this is the sun coming to those areas, coming to those people who may not have experienced a whole lot of it. And it's gorgeous. And it doesn't have to be just like first peoples, right? Oh, it's right here. It can kind of be anybody who's been outside. And what do they call it in The Lion King? When Mufasa's like, everything that the sun touches is yours. And then Simba's like, what about over there? And he's like, don't go over there. That's the land that the sun has forsaken. Six of Swords, Ten of Pentacles. Love that energy. We've seen the Ten of Cups, the Ten of Pentacles is here, the Devil, and the Nine of Swords at the bottom of the deck with the Four of Pentacles. See, I told you this Four of Pentacles was shady AF. I don't like the Four of Pentacles in this deck. This is an energy of comparison. This is that energy that's like, well, if we give more to them, if we give them rights, then there's going to be less rights for you. If they get money, then they'll be taking your money. And it's like, okay, or not. It's to not be so self-centered, to not be so in the energy of comparison and competition that it would put you in a position to deny basic human rights and dignity and decency to other people. And I think for some people, they're not inherently um, bad people, but they don't want things to get any more difficult or challenging for them. I think probably are some people who are like, I don't necessarily dislike these people, but at the same time, I'm not trying to have more competition when it comes to, work or whatever else. It's like they can recognize their privilege, even if it's through hoops and things that they don't have to go through. There are certain challenges that they face at a significantly lower rate than other people, and that's not something that they want to sort of potentially give up, because it's all about sort of taking care of themselves. It's selfishness. But it's like we've reached the end of what a world full of selfish people can give us. It's interesting that in this Six of Swords card, these people are smart because they put the swords in that urn, that pot. I've seen Six of Swords cards where the swords looks like they're just sticking in the boat, and it's like, okay, well, if they puncture the it's not the hole, they puncture the bottom, then the boat's going to start to fill up with water, and you're going to drown before you get where you're going. I feel like this is a Ten of Cups energy, but it's like for the whole earth. And I love it that because I said with that Seven of Pentacles, it was just putting that energy out in the ethers around Earth, like potential. This is actualizing it because now the Pentacles are in that color, right? And they're sort of creating the framework for this. This is like a portal to this world, to this Earth that we are sort of moving towards with the Six of Swords. But it's going to require us to leave our selfishness and our um, indifference behind, because indifference, the stagnancy of indifference breeds just as much as an active disdain. And it's almost the energy of like those who don't stand for anything will fall for anything, or something like those who don't stand for something will fall for anything, or something like that, because they just don't care until it gets to the point where it personally affects them. But by then, more often than not, it's too late. And that already came out. What was that, the solstice or before? I don't know. It was recently it came out. I was like halfway here. Hey D, I was just about to leave. But I hope you're having a good day. Excuse me. I hope you all have a good whatever whenever you see this. Happy Monday. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that you can find it within your heart to care about other people, even if it doesn't immediately benefit you, because it all benefits you. And when we do a disservice to anyone, it's a disservice to all of us. You know, oneness, that's something that y'all believe in, right? So if you harm another, you're harming yourself. If you disregard another, you're disregarding yourself. If your selfishness keeps you from extending to someone else, then your selfishness keeps you from extending to yourself, right? Brighter days are on the horizon. We just have to be brave enough to claim them.